Good afternoon.
How are you doing?
I'm very good. How are you?
I'm pretty good. It's beating down the sun here in the other side of the world, Vancouver, British Columbia. It's 11:03 in the morning, just so you know.
Nice to see you, new boy, anyway.
Nice to meet you, Robby. I thought I'd put Canadian Chris in. It's the only thing I could think of that would come up.
Fantastic. So. Absolutely fantastic title.
Fair enough. So, where are we going today? We're talking... I mean, I think we've talked the arse out of the City game, right? I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, I think...
Let's look ahead, Chris. Let's look ahead. Forget the past, mate.
Yeah. Well, I was looking at the Palace game coming up, and of course, you could say it's a must win. I'm sick of hearing that, but it is. I'm just looking at the tables here, okay, and they've got. I just took a couple of notes here. They have 2 wins in the last 10 games, which I know that we don't have a great record either, but that's totally winnable for us, right? And if ever there was a game that we needed, and there's a little bit of history there, with a couple of seasons ago when Dom, scores the Andy Greer there. So I hope the crowd are with us, right from the get-go here, and they're not going to go all weird after. Sometimes the crowd goes a little quiet after 20 minutes or so when it's not going our way, right? Are you with us,
Chris? Where do you see our problems at the moment?
Yeah, hold on a second. Are we okay, Yann, for sound?
Okay,
great
apologies for that. People couldn't hear me. Apologies about that. I might be having technical difficulties. I was going to say before, maybe you didn't hear me. I was introduced it all, and I said, "Hey, we're joined by Chris from over in Canada." Did you not hear any of this?
No.
Oh, excellent. Sorry about this, guys. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. I feel like a little bit red-faced here, but we're going to backtrack for a minute. Thank you for joining us for this midweek chat. We're joined by Chris, who's coming in from Canada. You probably heard all that he said anyway. But yeah, it's lovely to be here. Sorry about that.
No worries.
We're looking ahead.
We're looking ahead, and I think Robby was asking me, where do I see our weaknesses, Robby, or our problems?
The predicament that we're in now, Chris, obviously you're thousands of miles, you're in the news and exactly like everyone else, but where do you see our problems at the moment, mate? On the pitch, for starters.
On the pitch? Well, I was thinking about this. Obviously, I've been thinking about it this morning because I knew I was coming on here. And I was thinking about our strongest team, everybody fit. And to me, it's if Seamus is going, I'm having Seamus and Tarky, Branthwaite, Miko, Onana, Ghana, Jimmy, McNeil. I'm not sure about Harrison. I know he works really hard, but that's a toss-up between Harrison maybe and Danjuma maybe. I don't know. And then we've got the big man up front that I just feel
who's
like
the big man, mate?
Good one, Robby.
Are we talking about Mr. KFC?
Well, no. I don't know who the KFC man is, but the male model DCL. I mean, I keep thinking about Patrick Bamford, and how important he was for Leeds, and he got injured. He had all this injury stuff, and it took him a while. It took him so long to get back into the groove, and I just hope to God that that's not going to happen with this guy. I just see so many similarities. So there, that's not a bad, that's not a bad team, at all. And just to get him firing again, I just think we need that crowd. We need that Gladys Street end sucking those goals in. And if he gets something, I think that's the key. I honestly think that's the key. And sometimes I think back about his injuries and I feel glad that he's actually completing almost 90 minutes every game, right? That's almost a bonus, but that's where I see the on-field stuff. And I know it's an obvious point, but to getting him back firing, I think that's huge for us. Huge.
Yeah. Chris, did you not know the story behind Beto?
No, I haven't heard that one yet.
Mate, he was working in a KFC selling chicken 4 years ago.
Jesus Christ.
Seriously.
So that's what.
Do you feel that DCL's contributions, because we arguably you could say the statistics back up that we score more when he's on the pitch.
Yeah.
So do you think that contribution is enough, even if he's not the one scoring the goals?
Well, I think that was his worst game on Saturday for a long time. I mean, I'm not digging him out here, but you know, I'd say well over 50% of his. I don't even think he had that many touches, but it seemed to be he gave the ball away a lot. Granted, he was up there against the best defense in the league, you know, but his decision making was just out. And I think at the moment for him, I mean, I'm not a psychologist or anything, but he just needs something to go his way. You know, I think you look through the previous games. I can't tell you offhand, you know, which games it was, but there was a game he was right through a couple of times and he just, you know, hit the target, hits the goalie's legs. You know, if they're going in, he's a different player, right? But this happens, you know, as I said there, you know, I compared him to Bamford and I don't know, I guess Dyche, I like Dyche. I think the way he talks is very genuine and honest, you know, compared to sometimes you listen to Frank talking and it's just like monotone, right? Just this. But Dyche talks about mentality a lot. And I think that's a great word for the club. You know, we just, you know, dogs of war, whatever you want to call it, just grinding these results out, you know, and just getting a bit of luck. And you know, I'm not going to be a blue that's going on about luck all the time and fortune, but I tell you, when you see some of the stuff that happens to that lot across the road, every deflection, every break of the ball seems to land to them. We're not getting that right now, you know. So I hope.
When you say that about DCL, there are plenty of strikers who do, as you say, that lot across the park and any other teams. When you watch the highlights, and I mean, Mopé's turned it on at Brentford. So do you think the limitations are? Do you think there are limitations to maybe the style of play or the tactics that we use? And if so, does it possibly go hand in hand with how we defend? The fact that maybe we're a counter-attacking team, or we seem to be, and there's the transition from that is just set pieces or breakaway corners. You know, we sit back and we've mastered the art of keeping the pressure on the other team, and keeping the ball out of our box, and we concede very few goals in the bottom half of the table. But maybe, do you think that's something to do with why we're not scoring then?
Well, I think you know, you brought Mopé up there.
Sorry.
You know, I have watched him. You know, I've watched a couple of Brentford games, and of course, he's playing with somebody pretty special, right? And I think that I'm not sure what their formation is. I think it's a 4-4-2 up front or something like that. So that's a different strategy that they have. A lot of players, when they go to different clubs, they pick up a new lease of life and excuse me one second here.
Yeah. All right. So Robby, we've got a lot of people asking in the comments here, and what we can see is we've got people asking about what's the truth about financial fair play. Is it the stadium that tipped us over the edge? You know, we've got the takeover of 777. Is it being held up because of the Premier League? You know, and there are a lot of valid questions here that you know, we are going to touch on these things, but I think it's important to note that as it stands at the moment, there's been no developments. There's been no announcement on the appeal. There's been no decisions made over, you know,
allegedly, Yann. We're the rumor is tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Sorry, Chris. Tomorrow.
You were otherwise indisposed. I thought I'd touch on that because I didn't want people to think we were ignoring the issues. It's a big one. Sorry, you were saying it.
Sorry, you know, we were talking about Mopey there and different styles of play and stuff like that. But, you know, I don't know what website. I think it's the Everton, just the Everton official club site. And they show you a lot of the training sessions right before the game. I don't know if you've ever watched any of them. They're pretty good, you know, what they do in training. It's interesting to see the players, what they do. And it's clear, you know, they want to get crosses in, right? And they want to, you know, but there's no second ball. There's no one to pick that second ball up. Everything's kind of relying on DCL getting a knock on here. Well, who's he knocking it onto? You know, it's sort of, you know,
Mopey.
You know, yeah, Mopey, and he's not there. I mean,
he still thinks Neil Mopey's there. Question for you, Chris.
Yeah.
DCL's contract is up. He's got 1 year left. At the end of the season, would you sell him?
Yeah, I would. Just purely on his. I don't know how they got him fit, but let's be honest. And I'm not picking on the lad. He had 2 years of, you know, what would you call it, chronic injury, and I don't know what Dyche did and his team did. I know they were looking at his sleep patterns and what he was doing, whether he was getting in and out, what kind of seats in his car and all this kind of stuff. But, you know, if he goes through that again,
mysterious Lamborghini injuries, yeah,
whatever, you know, whether he's wearing high heels and he's you know, leg warmers, whatever he's doing, I mean, I don't even know what he's worth now. I mean, because that big question marks around him. You know, look at teams like Brighton. You know, how the hell are they picking up, you know, these world beaters? You know, I mean, why can't we get some of that? You know, it's but
our scouting network's been poor, hasn't it? The scouting network, everything, the doctor, the medical team, everything's literally been shredded to the bone, hasn't it?
Yeah.
We've been stripped. It's almost like we've been asset stripped in a way, and we've hemorrhaged all our best staff, and even some of the heart and soul of the club. You know, like what's his name? The guy who did the kits.
Jimmy.
Yeah.
Jimmy Kitman.
Yeah. Everything, but every stage we've had a transition of managers. We've had a whole change in training staff, medical staff, as you say, everything. But the scouting network's gone, and but mostly the homegrown talent's just been completely missing. We've not had any promoted, you know, from the youth ranks. And as you say, you look at Brighton, and they find or they develop some very, very good players that play on that play into the financial fair play economic model of generating your own wealth. I mean, like players like Lamptey and Matoma will have, you know, increased in value there. That they've gone from being bought for buttons to anyway.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I suppose we did really well to pick up Onana. You know, I mean, there's still a little bit of jury out on him a little bit, but he looks like he's going to be quite a weapon. You know, whether we can hold on to him or not. But back to the DCL thing. Personally, me, you know, I wouldn't be too upset if we sold him, to tell you the truth. That's just me.
Chris, how big are Everton over in Canada? Are we a small club like Dickie Masters says we are?
Well, first of all, football, or soccer as they call it over here, you've probably heard this one before. You know, it's not the biggest. It's definitely behind hockey and NFL. They can't stand, the Americans or North Americans, they cannot stand the falling over and the theatrics. They refuse to watch it. You know, that's the thing. But of course, everyone's a Man United fan. Everyone's a Liverpool fan. City, you don't hear a lot. You know, I'm a City fan, but it's more Man U, Liverpool, Chelsea. And then there was an Everton supporters club on Twitter here, the Vancouver Toffees or something like that. I mean, I reached out to them a couple of times and never heard anything back. So I think people know who we are, but unfortunately they know us because of the other lot. You know, there's some people, most people that know the basics about football.
The benefit that will always go in their favour as well is, of the two teams, they have the name of the city, which is always going to be a frustrating.
Well, they have a massive brand as well, right? I mean,
yeah.
Let's be honest, but don't get me started about fucking Mr. Ed there. You know.
Yeah, no, we're not. We're not going to go there. I mean, we were kind of thinking. My thought process is that the Premier League now is a manufactured product, and part of the manufacturing is having a top six where they can sell the brand globally, and we're not part of the manufacturing anymore.
No, but it's interesting that, and I don't know if this is the right thing or the wrong thing, but the way they work things in the NFL and in the hockey is that you finish bottom of the league, you get first dibs on all the top players, so that
the
league,
how it works.
But that's how it works over here. But there's so much history in our game in the UK. You know, there's so much history there. That would be a tough sell, I think, to start going up that route, because that would, you almost get teams playing to finish bottom, right?
Can I just jump in and do the corporate shield thing here for a second, just before Ryan? Right. I just got to say, because otherwise the boss will be back on me immediately. I've taken an extended break from the channel. Right, Pete here has asked, how do I become VIP? Now, we do offer for a few pennies or a few pounds a month, you do get a premium VIP membership to the channel. It enables us to do more content. The money goes directly to Ryan to buy more torture implements like whips and manacles to keep us locked up in small studios and produced top quality, questionable content with guests from around the world like Chris. So yeah, but Mr. Toffees has helpfully said here, hit the join on YouTube. You do, and you have to go onto the YouTube itself page of the channel. I think it's possibly on a desktop. Go to the desktop version and you can have all the details on there, I believe. But yeah,
and
sorry for that.
All those VIP members, sorry, Yann, just an extra for all those VIP members. When it's your birthday, you get a card from the Robster in his birthday suit, so it's worth it.
Yeah.
I just remembered, Robby, by the way, by some sort of strange freak of nature, I don't have a birthday. But yeah, anyway, sorry about that, Chris. I had to do the corporate thing there.
Fair enough.
Yeah, we've got. I didn't introduce the show because I was muted, so sorry about that.
No worries.
Yeah.
What else was I going to say there? I mean, obviously, the 10 points is a topic. The 777 is a topic. I mean, as far as they're concerned, the 777. I've been watching this rumble along. I mean, it's clear to me. Just my opinion is they ain't going to do anything until they find out about these 10 points, right? I mean, if it's a championship side, I don't know if. I mean, that's what I think the hold up here. They're dragging every kind of legal loophole they can find to, until we find out what's going on here. And, the 10 points, I mean, you're saying tomorrow,
What's your thoughts? Are we going to get them back, Chris?
I don't think we'll get them all back. I think we'll get something back, and then we're into the Forest and us second charges. I mean, if I'm forced to give an opinion here, because I don't know how much time we've got, I think
go on.
I think they'll give us something back, and then they'll take them back again on the second one, and they'll give Forest the same. So, I mean, that's my, if I'm forced to give an opinion here, I think that's what's going to happen. I can't see us getting all the 10 points back, because then every Tom, Dick, and Harry, every time they get because the precedent gets set, right? I mean, I don't know them offhand, but there must be some kind of precedent with other clubs. What happened to them? I know Sheffield Wednesday got a punishment, QPR, whatever, but I don't know how serious their claims were.
Can I throw in a 2 cents, if I may? See, and then sort of end it with a question for you, Chris, and you, Robby, I suppose. When you have investigatory panels like this that don't happen very often, and there are very serious consequences for the operation that affects multiple businesses, organizations like football clubs, more often than not, what happens is when there's a new charge or punishment or investigation into something, that will be the benchmark, won't it? That will set the precedent for how future things are treated. So considering if there's any truth in the fact that what's pushed us over, or one of the numbers, because obviously it factors in a lot of revenue streams and costs. One of the things that put us over was the interest payments on a loan for the stadium, which they're now changing the rule. That's been discussed or promoted quite a lot in news and media lately, hasn't it? Something along those lines.
Yeah.
So if it's possible, and they say, oh, they're going to change it back, it seems unfair, and they would be allowing themselves up. They would martyr Everton and crucify themselves and bring a huge storm of criticism down upon them, which they don't seem to care about most of the time anyway. But what it would do is it would penalise the other teams that are potentially on the brink of doing the things that we are trying to do as well. That, Newcastle have been bought. Are they going to want a huge redevelopment or a new stadium? Are Brighton going to want one if they keep pushing on to Europe? Aston Villa, they've got a really lovely ground, but it's going to need modernising at some point in the future. So what are they going to do? Are they going to give us back the 10 points and then potentially take 6 away from us and Forest, or however many that's commensurate with the punishments? Oh, Chris is gone.
He'll come back, won't he?
Yeah, he's back. Excellent. Just give us a thumbs up, Chris, if you're ready.
Robby's spot, But
sorry about that, Chris. Yeah.
Are we okay now?
Didn't bring you back in straight away. Yeah. So basically, my question would be to you: what happens though if because it's Everton? What happens if we don't get the 10 points back and then we face further points? How would you know? What do you think would happen?
Well, as you were talking, I was thinking about Everton haven't won anything in the past. I think since '95, right? They haven't won anything. This Premier League brand is huge around the world, right? It's a monster, right? And I'm thinking about, can you imagine that Manchester City get all their premierships taken away from them, all their Champions League taken away from them, relegated to the Championship, whatever it may be, just like Rangers, maybe not similar, but Rangers got a big punishment. That's just never going to happen. That is not going to happen, because no matter what they've done, it's not going to happen, because it absolutely it turns that brand upside down. And the people that
they've got a duty to protect their brand, as it states in the rules and the charters.
So there you go. It's so convoluted, this whole thing. But to punish Everton, who haven't won anything, and they can't take anything away from them apart from, the points and probably their Premier League status.
But it doesn't really matter at the end if they've already got the entire infrastructure, the cachet, the whole thing, the stadium, the team. They could survive a few years in the wilderness and still be a decent force at the end of it. That was just my take on what you said there.
Yeah. Obviously, would prefer not to do that. And there is a lot of people out there that say, we need a clean slate. We need to go and reorganize and all of that kind of stuff. But, I'm an Everton fan, right? Everton are a massive club. I don't care what anybody says. I'm sick of these people. I hope I don't offend any Newcastle fans, but come on. Massive, massive club, massive fan base. I would hate to think there's a conspiracy against Everton, but the way it kind of looks, you gotta question it sometimes. If we don't get the 10 points back, if it was just we don't get the 10 points back and we get a massive fine, transfer embargo next year, I think we'll be okay. How much damage that does to us next year, we can't buy anybody. Are we putting off the inevitable? I don't know. It's a very, very difficult question, but at the end of the day, I think this all comes down to money and the brand, and the guys in that office, wherever it is in London somewhere, they're just absolutely shiting themselves right now about how can we give it to that team, but we can't give it to that team. They got to look at precedents here. What did they do in the past? And it blows my mind, and it's talked about all the time. I have no idea why Manchester City, like, even if they've done one thing wrong, why can't they just take one charge and say, okay, we can prove this. You gave Mancini a backhander, blah, 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 totally illegal. Here's what we're going to do to you. Spurs, the Defoe transfer, all dodgy under the,
Tevez.
Tevez or whatever it was. Right? I mean, so, what's going on here? Do you really want to open a can of worms, or, would the Premier League get away with saying, listen, hands up, we've made a mistake here, but here's the new rules from this day moving forward. Here's the new rules. We'll just see it out to the end of the season. Give Everton their 10 points back, and from next season onwards, one of you guys steps out of line. One of you, like an inch out of line, we're coming down on you like a ton of bricks. And I know that's pie in the sky kind of thinking, but I can't think of any other way they're going to do it, because they're going to be punishing everybody. Surely. How can it only be Everton? How can it only be Notts Forest? That's just impossible,
Because it's a reflection of real life. If you go after somebody, if they have enough money and resources, they fight it. And essentially, it comes down to this old adage. I know we said we weren't going to talk about things outside football very much, but it comes down to this adage of, if it results in a fine, it just means it's legal for the rich.
Fair enough. Well, listen, I mean, I think we could talk about this till the cows come home. Hopefully we'll know this week, and we'll just have to accept the fate. But one thing I will say on top of all this, I think, if there's one guy that you would wish to have at the helm, if all this goes, tits up, I think Dyche is your guy. He's a working class. The way he talks, I don't know if you guys like him. I like him. He talks genuinely, talks honestly. There's no bullshit. Is he limited tactically? Do you get fed up with him with some of the subs he doesn't make? And yeah, you do. But that's just my 2 cents on it. Yeah, I guess we'll find out in the next couple of days. But what more importantly is we got to find a way of getting 3 points off Palace next Monday. That's just because we could find ourselves, by the time Monday comes around, Luton at home to United in that little shithole of a ground. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. That little ground that they've got. They're getting results there. Who else? Burnley. Okay, are they going to get anything at Arsenal? Forest at West Ham. West Ham just got 6. We could find ourselves 4 or 5 points adrift, and then we don't get anything at Palace. Then the mentality, as he talks about, you're in the bottom 3 for 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. I don't care what anybody says. When you're a player and you're looking at that, it affects you. Do you take that chance in the box that do you take the chance too quickly? You're desperate to score. It's a tough spot to be in. So
yeah, I mean, we saw that a while before Decore hit a bit of a vein of form. He was doing silly things like missing open goals or not taking shots when he could have done. It is very frustrating, and you have to wonder then, has it become a mentality thing? I mean, one thing that I did notice was when DCL came back from an extended period of injury, I forget which one, and he came on and he was doing a sort of an anxiety self-comforting, I think, sort of exercise as he was coming out onto the pitch. So, that to me, it's just what I've recognised from
the tapping stuff. Yeah. That's a. I know what that is. But whatever, as long as he puts it in the back of the net, I don't care if he comes out with a blue perm.
He needs
to
tap it. He needs to tap a bit harder because it's not working, is it?
No.
But what I will say is, looking forward to Palace, this is going to be my prediction, that I can see it being one of those games where Palace are going to put on the theatrics and roll around on the ground and keep winning free kicks. That's just what they do all the time against us. It seems to be.
Yeah, they got a couple of bulls up front, but I think the crowd's turning against them. But I mean, that's not my business. What I was going to ask, Robby, are you guys in the Gladys Street? Where are you guys? Are you guys?
I was a season ticket holder from 71.
Right.
So I worked at Goodison for 26 years behind the scenes. So I'm a sort of stay-at-home granddad now. So that's how I'm involved in the channel. So me and Wes, we do the pre-match, and if the short, we do the post-match. But obviously, bringing new members on board. So I'm not a season ticket holder anymore.
Right, fair enough. I was going to ask, what's the vibe like in the Gladys Street? You know, is it? I mean, we saw what team is it that were leaving at halftime? Was it West Ham fans were left at halftime? A whole bunch of them were left at 4-0. You know, what's the feeling? I mean, because when I watch it on the telly, right? It just, you can almost sense the crowd. You know, first 5 minutes. You know what it's like when you watch Everton, right? You know if they're on or they're not, right? It's kind of, and it can change in a heartbeat. You know,
it's what I think. What it feels like in Goodison at the moment. I mean, I've not been well recently. I missed a handful of games, 3 or 4 games, maybe a bit more. But what it's felt like recently, and increasingly so, especially this season, there's an eagerness to get behind the team, but we find it very difficult to remain in high spirits, because I think that a lot of people are fatigued by the last 3 years, immensely,
absolutely.
and more. And it just, the confidence, the joy, the exuberance, the singing, the shouting, anything, it's cut down in frequency. It's cut down in you know, there's more angry outbursts. It's not humorous comments as it used to be. You know, the banter, the things being shouted out at players or refs or officials. Now it's just vitriol and anger and frustration, and it's like any excuse to just vent this 3, 4, 5, 6, 28, 29 years of bottled up frustration and more.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've had a season ticket for 15, 16 years, and the atmosphere in general, I mean, I went to handfuls of games in the 90s, but but I was only quite young. You know, when we're talking of attendances, I know it dipped to like 12,000, 16,000.
Oh yeah, Gordon Lee years. Oh yeah, it was terrible. Yeah,
but you know, and then the 90s was kind of bad at times, but there's something, we're all optimistic and we're hopeful, because it's like something's just not quite clicking, and then there's this frustration of why don't we seem to get what we deserve, and the atmosphere is just, it's fragile. It's very fragile, I think.
Yeah, that's a good word, fragile. And especially the further it gets down the season, because every game matters, every goal matters, because, sorry to say, you know, sometimes it comes down to goal difference, which is an extra point. And yeah, this is a bit of a generalization, but you know, we had those 4 games, 4 wins on the bounce, I think it was, you know, at the start there, you know, that, thank God, you know, and it felt different, you know. It felt, here we go, you know. And you look at that team on paper, right? I mean, it's a decent team. I feel it's a decent team, you know. And when DCL comes back, you know, we're hoping to get him back, and it just hasn't worked for him, you know. And I'm just crossing my fingers that he can turn the corner here and just get that edge on him again. He just doesn't have that edge right now.
They've got 14 cup finals to go.
Oh yeah,
Everton.
Yeah. And yeah,
my heart can't take it. It's do you come over?
We're all tapping.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the tapping. It's called, I can't remember it. Rapid eye movement therapy or something it's called.
It's self-soothe. I don't know what it is. Did you come over much? Did you get over from Canada?
Yeah, I was over. I brought my kid over last season for the City game, believe it or not. That was, I think, 2-0, 3-0, whatever it was. Haaland scored, like, had about 3 touches. He scored 2 goals.
That was an interesting choice of games to go to.
Yeah, well, that was the time I was coming over, and but yeah, I come home. I used to come home. I've been here for 20 years now. I used to come home twice a year, go down to Everton and go to the taxi club with my dad, or we stand outside the Spello, and I say, "What do you think, Dad?" He goes, "Oh, we all win today." You know, typical dad. "Oh, we all win today," and he just kept us going. Right, he died last year, but he was a season ticket holder for 40+ years. And but he did say to me, I think it was last season or the season, DCL scores the diving header. He said to me, he says, "I think this is it, lad. I think this is the season we go," and we got out of it. But I don't know. I mean, I'm repeating myself here. We're such a big club. And I don't care. I don't care what anybody says. We're a massive, massive club. Underachievers, I guess. I just hope this thing, you know, whatever happens here, and if we end up going down a division, I hope we can just shuffle the deck here and new stadium and etc. But don't know. Fingers
It'd be
crossed.
a good day tomorrow if we did get points back, Yann, because we're due to do another show tomorrow with Chad from thousands of miles away as well, aren't we?
Where is he?
Who's also transatlantic, America. Yes, an American south of the border for you. He's also an Everton fan. Tomorrow. What was tomorrow? Valentine's Day. That would be the best present I could get.
Oh, jeez.
Boys, we're getting a minimum of 6 points back, and then we're going to kick Dickie Masters' ass big time. We're going to make it so uncomfortable for him because, do you know what? We should have a GoFund page and get our money in and sue the ass off the Premier League and make life uncomfortable for them. And Dyche should just slag him off every time he's on. They won't like it. People don't like confrontation. I think we've been too nice, personally. I think we played the nice game. Depending on tomorrow, game on.
We need to find somebody who's arm's length distance from the club from a business finance point of view, who decides that they're going to finance a bankroll, Dyche and any player that wants to speak out against PGMOL, the FA, the Premier League, and all this.
Yeah.
And just if there's any benevolent, billionaires watching, follow Everton right now. Yeah, just give Dyche free.
We need you. We need you.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll get some news by the end of the week. But is that got some legs? Is it, Robby? That it's tomorrow?
Tomorrow, yeah. Tomorrow's got legs. Yeah. From that was an hour ago from a good friend of mine. So let's see.
And we have a KC, right? A top KC on our behalf.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember the guy's name now.
Lawrence. Rabinowitz, something like that.
Yeah. And switching gears there a little bit again. So is Decore fit?
No.
He's not going to make it for Palace?
No.
Danjuma, is he fit?
I think he's getting fitter, but I don't know what. He just keeps saying that on the grass. That's.
Do you think he's going to fly down?
The KFC man. Maybe he's gonna become a hero for us.
Well, he played the 4-4-2 system 3 or 4 weeks ago, didn't he? And it was so flat. It just everyone was asking for a 4-4-2, and it's
King's Council. Oh,
what does KC?
It was David B asking. King's Council. Used to be Queen's Council for top barrister.
Top barrister, yeah. But if you're playing a 4-4-2, I mean, if the ball's in the opposition's half, you're not going to lose any goals, and you've got a chance, right? It's not pretty football, but hey, What, you know, what does it matter? But you need a buzz bomb around him. You can't have two similar players, right? I mean, you got to have the little annoying guy that's in about the feet and, you know, picking the second balls up. You know, that's kind of old school football, right? But it works.
Yeah, the Naismith and the Yelovich and the,
you know, Sharpie and Inchy or whatever you want to call it. I'm going back now, but Dunk and Cahill or whatever it may be, you know,
Ride Out and
Ride Out, Ride Out. Yes. What is he? I think, is he still playing?
Aruna Kone.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Would you take Aruna Kone back right now?
Did the guy we got from Villa? Did he make one start?
No.
Gabby Abdullahor.
No.
El Ghazi. El Ghazi.
Oh, that was Anwar El Ghazi. Sorry.
Yeah.
What was Lampard thinking about?
What? Out of all the 500, 600 million that Mashiri's bankrolls,
yeah,
who'd be a 1, 2, 3 that's been worth the money?
Worth the money.
Worth. As if we spoke about who wasn't worth the money, would probably be on till tomorrow night, wouldn't we? All the money they've wasted.
Well, off the top.
But does anyone stand out?
Mikalenko, Onana.
I think Onana. You know, if I can force myself to forget about that penalty he took, and if you can get rid of the rah-rah and stuff, okay, you made a good tackle, mate, but you don't need to go like that. You know, we're all doing that anyways. He looks like he could be a bit of a weapon. Mikalenko, he's turned a corner. I thought he was going to go, you know, down, but he's turned a corner. I'm trying to think now because he's been there for such a while. I'm trying to think of.
Do you see how difficult it is, Chris? The fact that we've spent $500 million, give or take a fiver, and when you're at someone who's been worth it, you're actually struggling, aren't you?
Did he buy Genk? What's his name again? Tucson? Did he buy Tucson? Tosin. Did he buy Tosin?
That was Big Sam, wasn't it? But that was in that era, wasn't it? 25 million on a 5-year contract, £120,000 a week.
Yeah. And
sorry,
thanks, Mr. Toffees. Thank you.
I've got to say another shout out. Mr. Toffees here is it's the second time he's gifted 5 memberships to people here. You know,
Mr. Toffees, I'm just wondering, did you win the lottery on Saturday? Just asking. Nice one, mate.
Robby needs a more recent shirt.
I read something today about Dele Alli. I just get tidbits over here. To me, it looks like they're just like, what's going on with him? Are they just seeing it out and then just going, see you later, or what? You know, is the guy off? He's still off his rocker, or what? What's?
Yeah. Well, we think that there's stuff there that's maybe historical and it's possibly not football related. I genuinely don't believe you'll see him in a blue shirt again.
No, that's what I think.
I feel very sorry for the guy that he's gone through whatever he's gone through that's affected him. It's come out now. It's all in the public eye, and it's going to have to go through scrutiny. And I'm not being insensitive. I'm just talking, from an Everton point of view. Why does it always? Why do we? We always assume these problems with players. We're a refuge home for waifs and strays, and we just acquire them. Damari Gray and his mentality and his thing going on with his missus, and or Ross Barkley and what he was getting involved with, and then we ship him off. And Andy van der Meijden and just Materazzi, was it Materazzi? Just all the play. But recently as well, Sigurdsson. What happened with James Rodriguez and his mentality? Like, what do we do? What is going on at Everton? Yeah. Sorry, Chris.
Ladies and gentlemen, Yann is on a rant. Please, if you're at home, do not call us Samaritans.
There's a question for you.
Go on.
Do we take Judas back if he's available?
Which Judas?
Well, sorry, good question there, Yann.
There's 15 of them.
Do we take Barkley? Would Barkley come back, or would he be welcome back, or would he be accepted? Like, what's?
I think that ship sailed, hasn't it? That's gone.
You think? fair enough.
Yeah,
His contract's
me
up. Yeah, he's only
personally,
got...
I think they had the chance, didn't they? And it was too hot to handle. So, me personally, I think that one's gone. If you got him next season, it's that's just my opinion.
This is incredibly biased and unprofessional of me to say this. I will never forget him. But I was walking down Paradise Street in Liverpool, walking towards him. He was walking this way, and it was when he still played for us. I went like, "All right, Ross." I just went, "All right, mate." And he just looked at me like I was a piece of shit. I was like, "Goodbye." I couldn't believe it.
It's a bit of civility, costs nothing, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's important.
I wasn't interrupting him when he was eating. I didn't ask for a picture. I mean, I didn't even ask to shake his hand. I was just like, "All right."
Mate, to make up for that fact, I'll arrange to walk past you down Paradise Street next week, and I'll give you a big welcome. I'll give you a hug in Paradise Street next week, live in front of everyone in town.
Yeah,
you heard it from me.
In your birthday suit.
We like, Chris, you know what? We talk about football, mate, and you've got to smile and you've got to laugh when you're a Blue. Otherwise, we all know what you'd end up doing.
Well, I talked about my dad a bit earlier. Always the same. He would say to me, whatever he would say, and the face, the smile, he's trying to hold this smile in, this sarcastic kind of smile. He's like, we'll be all right, son. We'll be all right. Smiling. It's like, oh my God. And just, he loved Dunk, Dunk was his guy. He's just nonstop, big Dunk,
Yeah. Am I right in saying I was lucky enough to have met him on a few occasions? You met him, have you, Chris?
Yeah, well, I was coming through. I'm about a year and a half older than him. So I was at Dundee United on the apprentice staff. I think it was 8 to 8. Yeah, about 8 to 8. And he was coming through with the young lads. And I got moved on, but I still had all my contacts and some stories even then. He was quite something, but the social side but he got his move to Rangers, and he had his problems, and I think he's eternally connected with the Blues because of I think when he was away, the amount of letters and stuff that he got from the Blue guys that kept him going, and that's his sort of connection. But he's up at Caledonian now, Inverness Caledonian. I don't know quite how they're doing, but
yeah, they're out the bottom. They're out the bottom three, so he's had quite a few wins. I keep looking at what they've been doing.
Yeah, the Forest Green Rovers one was strange. That was a strange move.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, didn't work out for him, did it? Sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
But he is crazy. he is. I mean, like when I met him, it was away from football, so it wasn't on the football pitch and it wasn't in the football ground, and like you can't help but sort of. He's just a likable fella.
Yeah,
he really is.
Yeah. He's still. I know I still got a bunch of buddies up there that are working in the lower divisions, and they're all a network, right? They're all in contact with one another, and you hear the odd story going around. But yeah, my dad, that was his favourite, big Dunk. So
yeah,
that's what we need a bit of from Calvert-Lewin there. He needs to maybe get a bit of nastiness into his game. He's not a nasty player, but maybe
he's just a nice boy, Chris, isn't he?
Yeah,
he's a nice boy. If your daughter brought him home, you'd be made up. You know what I mean? He's just a nice boy. But as for the hard case on the football pitch, forget it.
We do need players with a bit more nous on the pitch to win the free kicks more, astutely, as a lot of other players seem to do. Unfortunately, I don't agree with that part of the game. I think you stand up strong, you play the game, you don't collapse, you don't feign injury, you don't roll around, all this kind of theatrics, all the nonsense that you play it authentically and genuinely. But if your opposition, whether you want to say 19 other teams, 10 other teams, or just your opposition on the day aren't going to do that and they're not being penalised or they're buying and winning advantages in the game, do the same thing.
Yeah. I think they got to find a way. I think it's been mentioned, but not as much as the people that are committing the fouls, but the reaction of the players when they get, that you can hear them squealing, they do the rolling around and all that kind of. These guys have got to be held accountable as well, because that's what makes a lot of the minds up for the referees at that split second when it happens. Oh, that kind of thing. It's like, come on, I know we've moved on from the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, but guys just got hammered and they just got up. They just got up and got on with it. But anyways, I'm harping on about something that's
Chris. It's all rehearsed now. You see them when they go down. They scream as loud as they can to attract the attention of the officials.
Yeah.
It's all stage managed. It literally is. It's like, it does me head in.
Football now is not. Football has become a whole spectacle of the event. For it's theatrical, the televised day. I won't. I'll get on a soapbox here and start talking about how it's been ruined, and But on that note, I think we're rehashing everything. We're putting the world to rights. But I tell you what, Chris, it's been absolutely lovely having you on the channel, and I would love to hear more of your stories, your experiences of Everton, your take on things. If you would love to be back on, I think
been great. Been great. I've been kicking this ball around for, pardon the pun, for a couple of years now. I've been looking for something. I even can I do it myself? I'd need a bunch of support, and this just came up. It just by chance it came up, and I thought this is it. This is the opportunity, and I'd love to come back and just chat Everton. It's been great. It's been absolutely wonderful.
Anyone out there before we go? Because keep it under an hour on that. But any regulars, anybody dropping in, thanks for joining us, and thank you to Mr. Toffees for being so very generous. But before we go, do any of you have any questions for Chris that he can, of course, refuse to answer? But any questions? And then just get them in quickly. Have you got any questions, Robby, or have you got any questions for us, Chris?
No, I think we've covered quite a bit there.
Did you buy a slab or a stone on the Everton walkway?
We do have one. Yeah, we have two. We got one for my dad. We got one for my dad, and we got I think my brothers jumped in and got another one. So yeah, we're there. I'll need to look for it I'll need to look for it next time I'm there. Hopefully, we're not in the championship. Yeah. So, anyways,
Rugby Toffees asked. Oh, Rugby Toffees asked how big are Everton in Canada. I'm not sure if maybe you mentioned. Well, you did before, but how big specifically are Everton?
Rugby Toffees, they're a small club, just like Dickie Masters said.
Yeah, like I say, I hate to say this, but in my you walk around the streets, you see a Man United shirt, right? You walk around, you see a Liverpool shirt, you'll see, and they're all old ones. They're all like from 5 seasons ago. Yeah, you're like, so Chelsea, but people know who Everton are because of them, unfortunately. But they're up there. Like probably if there was a top 6, they'd be in it.
Chris, you start sending the messages out, mate, and getting your mates to follow us on YouTube and whatever, because you're going to be doing some live streams.
Well, that's what I'm going to be doing for sure.
I will quick fire some questions at you, Chris, because we've actually got quite a few coming in. Well, I don't think this was serious. Rod Ross is turning into Red Ross. He's getting angry. Do you know where Masters lives? No, Dave's asked. Wesso's on here. He's been watching us. Thanks for this. If you were still playing, how would you handle the situation at Everton as a player?
Oof. How would I handle it as a player?
We don't accept the answer functional alcoholism because it is.
What position, Dave? What position's he playing?
I've tried that one. That's a difficult question. How would I handle it in terms of changing the team or one position? Is that what he's asking?
Oh well, no. What position? Robby wanted to know what position you played.
What position I played? Oh, I was in the mantle of Seamus.
Right back.
I was a bombing up and down right back. I never got the ball right enough, but I had a couple of teams come and look at me, and I said, what are you looking for? They said, well, we're looking for a guy that's got a long throw. I said, that'll do. That's me. I think I signed after the game, so it was a long throw that got me signed.
Oh, so what would you? Yeah, but what would you? How would you handle the situation at Everton as a player? I mean, presumably there are going to be certain signals and signs that you, having some insider knowledge of being inside that football club environment, you might pick up on that maybe not everybody, armchair fans might necessarily do. That there's signs, whether it's talking about a mentality or dressing rooms being lost, or certain things there that.
All I can say, and I said this earlier, in my humble opinion, the situation that are Everton in right now is awful. It's so convoluted. There's so many different moving parts going on here. But if I think we have the right man as the coach, and some people may disagree with me here. He's not a Hollywood guy. He's a bread and butter. Talks the way he feels, and I think he's got the dressing room strongly. I think he has players behind him, and if he can't get us out of this, then I don't think anybody can. I think I feel good that he's the guy. I listen to him after interviews, and he's not crying in his soup or anything like that. When he could easily say things that sound like Mr. Ed over there. But I feel comfortable that we've got the right coach. But that's all I can say right now about it. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's very difficult as well, and it's all very speculative. We're sort of stuck between a rock and a hard place. Do you think this season's the turning point? I want to jump in and say, well, it would be a bloody turning point if it goes south. And yeah, but Barry's asked, do you think this season is the turning point?
Well, it's almost impossible to answer that question, because if we don't get any points back and we get another one, then the season's a wash. So how can you judge anything?
Won't happen. Won't happen. No chance.
I think we'll sort of wrap it up there, but leave it with the last question. The regular Peter Duggan has asked, thanks for this one. Do you know any decent Canadian players Everton can sign? Off the top of my head, I did think, yes, is Radzinski still?
Well, I've thought about that, but the guy plays for Bayern Munich, and he's going to cost us about 120 million. So Alonso Davies, but they should have jumped on. They should have jumped on that when he played for the Whitecaps. He's playing for the Whitecaps there. They could have picked him up for. And he goes from the Whitecaps to Bayern Munich. They're out there. They're definitely out there for sure. But again, you need to have the scouting network deep in it here. So, but yeah, I hopefully in the next couple of days we can kind of find out one way or the other here what's going on and get on with it. Right? There's not what else can we do? It's driving us all mad. But one thing I did want to say before I go here is, and I said this on the video there, Liverpool's had a rough time over the decades, right? And Scouse people are Scouse people. You really shouldn't be, picking on Scouse people, because they're going to come back with a vengeance. We're unique people. They've got a lot of strength in our character, so you don't want to be picking on the Scousers. That's just a gentle warning for any of you guys out there.
Here.
Yeah, there we go. We're not English, we're Scouse. Says him with a Scottish accent.
Yeah, and me, yes, sounding very much like BBC News. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, no. Chris, it has been a pleasure. It's been an absolute honour to have you this evening on Follow Everton.
Perfect.
Thank you for joining us.
Pleasure myself. Thank you.
Nice to meet you, Chris.
Thanks, Robby.
Thank you, Robby, for putting up with me, returning triumphantly and no longer dying.
It's a good night. Tonight we've got Yann back. We've got Canadian Chris from thousands of miles away. Tomorrow, Everton will be getting the points back. It's a wonderful world we live in.
I'm glad you've enjoyed it, Robby.
All right, I'll see you guys down at the Spello.
And a big shout out to Mr. Toffees, who's very generously shared the love this evening with so many of our regulars.
Thanks, friends.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. Thank you, all the regulars. Thank you to everyone for joining us. And we'll be doing more streams this week. So join us pretty much every night. You'll be back. We'll be back tomorrow. Ryan will be back then soon. But yeah, thank you very much, and see you soon, Chris. Thank you very.
See you guys.
Bye, everyone.